Fancy a cold lager all the way from the Rocky Mountains? Or an IPA from the sunny shores of California? Or a delicious creamy stout from your local craft breweries? With over 800 beers to choose from, craftbeersdelivered.com is home to the best craft beer from around the globe. We're one of Ireland's largest craft beer delivery services, run by our in-house beer specialists. From your favorite IPAs, stouts, lagers, and more, to some very special limited edition brews, we have a brew for the whole crew. Craftbeersdelivered.com offers quick, hassle-free delivery straight to your door. Order online today at craftbeersdelivered.com. Always drink responsibly.
Welcome to the Beer Ladies podcast with your hosts Lisa, Katie, Christina, and myself, Tandy. You can find us at our website or all over social media. Our website is beerladiespodcast.com, and our social media, Twitter, Instagram, Mastodon, Blue Sky, TikTok, and even Facebook are at Beer Ladies Pod or Beer Ladies Podcast. If you'd like to support the show, you can find our merch store link on any of our social media bios or in the show notes for this episode. And if you'd like to sponsor an episode, do mail us at beerladiespodcast@gmail.com. Now back to the beer. Hello and welcome everybody back to the Beer Ladies podcast. It is Lisa and myself today at the helm, and we have got a very special guest. Her name is Radka. Now, for those in Ireland, you might know Radka because she's all over the beer scene. Not only does she take the most amazing photographs of beer, it makes everybody salivate for all of this beer that she takes photographs of, but she's recently launched a sort of virtual or a beer magazine, a zine, an e-zine. I don't know what the term is. You'll have to teach me. But it's a new publication called Hop Glossy, and it's all focused on Irish beer. So today we're going to talk to Radka, and we're going to hear all about her history in beer in Ireland, and we're going to talk about Hop Glossy and see how it's going over there. So welcome everyone.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thank
Yay.
you.
It's so nice to have you all. So let's
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the invitation, and thanks for your kind words.
We're thrilled to have you.
Thank you.
You know, Radka, it's strange because it's like, I'm sure that we've met in person, but I can't really quite ever place it or remember. And then I'm embarrassed because I'm like, Tandy, like, stop being such a drunk. You know? But at the same time, I was thinking, like, if we hadn't met yet, how on earth is that even possible?
Right.
Because we're
There's
all
only
in the
so
same,
many of us.
Yeah, we're all in the same circles. So I'm sure we've met, but I'm not going to embarrass myself and ask silly questions. But you know what we will do is we'll go around and say, what are we drinking today? And guest of honor, Radka, let's start with you. Tell us about your beer tonight.
Perfect. So my choice of beer is Outer Place Brewing. So it's one of the beers that they released just recently. It's a Sacred Cycles. So it's IPA. They love hops. I love what they do. I love how they operate with hops. And basically, I tried this beer about a week and a half ago, when it was just freshly released. I felt it was very intense in flavor. So I decided that I'm going to give it a little bit of time to settle down and expand on the flavors. So that's what I'm drinking. I actually haven't had a sip yet. So I'm just going to, I'm going to try, and hopefully it's going to be more settled. And yeah, no, it's nice. It's very, very citrusy, very floral, herbal notes and all that kind of stuff, So it's a very, very nice beer. It's a very nicely balanced.
Delicious. And famously, Outer Place Brewing were, the feature of your first Hop Glossy. So I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lisa, what you drinking?
So I was very excited. I was out and about and found Hope's new seasonal, their red ale. And again, I thought it was super appropriate because I know it's a lot in the most recent issue of Hop Glossy, lots of focus on Hope. And I thought, well, I always like to get their seasonal anyway. And so, yes, this is my first time trying it as well. Definitely says it is that kind of deep ruby color. I know it looks a lot darker on the camera, but in the room, it is really that deep ruby. Ooh, definitely has like a lot of, lovely toasty notes. And oh yeah, that's very nice. It's very Moorish. Yeah, it's definitely definitely feels winter warming. So looking forward to that. But yeah, definitely has that red character. It doesn't feel super heavy. But I also am noticing it is 7%. So going to be sipping on it, not just knocking it back, especially on a school night, but excited to have this year's seasonal.
Nice. Okay, well, I didn't get anything from Outer Place. I did get something from Hope, but then I realized that Lisa would probably get something from Hope. I think Lisa's the biggest Hope fan in the world. So I went for a different choice. I've gone for Hopfully Shinebright IPA. Ooh, camera's playing tricksies here with me. But I haven't had this IPA, I think, for a very, very long time. And so I thought I would try it again. And it pours beautifully. Again, camera trickery. Wicklow Wolf glass, wrong glass, doesn't matter. But it's really pretty. It's like sort of bright yellow. When it poured, it had the most luscious, sort of frothy white head. But let's give it a sniff. Oh, it's fresh. It's like very. Oh, I get some tropical, a little bit of citrus. Oh, it's smelling delicious. And it is a bit hazy, of course. Oh, that's divine.
Oh,
Happy
very
to
good.
drink that tonight. Yep. Happy to drink that tonight. So, yep. Thank you, Hopfully. And thank you to all the fun brewers making excellent beer for us to drink. Yay.
Here, here. Yeah, and I think we're so excited too that we all love to, sort of stan our local Irish breweries, but but we're all from other places, yet we've all ended up. So maybe that's where we kind of begin. What do you think?
Indeed. Radka,
Yeah.
tell us about your story before you even arrive in Ireland. Where are you from?
So I'm from Slovakia, and I don't even know how I ended up here. I kind of no, I am. So I was studying in Slovakia, and then I decided I'm gonna move my studies to Czech Republic because, yay, another country,
Right.
still very close, but another country. So I went there, and then I was studying my master's studies there, and I got an opportunity to go and do Erasmus in Ireland. So
Okay.
usually, like, they let you go for one semester, but because I used to study musicology as a part of my studies,
Oh wow.
there was not many students, in our class. So I got a chance to go for the full year. So I was like, of course, I'm gonna take the opportunity, So yeah, I kind of came here, and I was back in Maynooth. I loved it there. Like, it's such a lovely town, and it was. I just, from the very first day, I felt so welcome, and I felt really, really, really happy here. And yeah, so then I kind of started to be thinking that, like, yeah, I kind of like it here. I might look into the options of staying here, or see what the options are. And so with that, I started to be looking for a job, where I got a job in a bar. So it was like a freshly new opening bar in Dublin city center. It was Bar Rua. So basically,
yes.
this was Camden Bar, I think. So they just, like, the new ownership took over, and they were changing into this, like, really cool modern craft beer bar. And I said to myself, yeah, I'm gonna try my chances. Like, I'd never really worked in a bar before, but I was like, I can learn. I think I'm quite a good learner. So I went there, and I didn't really know about the craft beer. Like, all when it comes to beer, like, I come from a country where, like, Czech lagers and German lagers and Slovakian lagers are very popular. So, like, this is beer in my head. I didn't think beyond the beers, different flavors or something. Beer is beer. Like, what are you asking? There is a beer. There is a 10 degrees one and 12 degrees one. Like, there's a very basic knowledge. And as well, it was just what we were born and raised on, basically. But when we opened the bar, that bar had 20 different taps, I think, altogether. And it was like all different beers from all around the world. And it was like, oh my God, like, how is that possible? And like, you taste the beer and taste so differently. So it kind of got me into thinking, like, how is this possible? I remember one of my very favorite first beers that I really kind of, like, I was hooked up on was Lagunitas, the original American Lagunitas. We had it on tap. We were serving that in pints. It's kind of like every day after work, I would treat myself to a beer, just to kind of, okay, I'm gonna try this just to see what the flavors are and all this kind of stuff. And basically, the owners of the bar were connected to the brewery down in Carrick-on-Shannon. So there was Carrick Brewing Company that doesn't exist anymore. But basically, because we were kind of connected and like we were pouring their beers, I started to be more curious about like, okay, how do you make this beer? How does it end up here? Because I always think like, when you want to sell something, you kind of have to know about it, relate to it, and you cannot sell it to the customer. So it has a story, like people were asking all these questions like, okay, how do you make this? And like, I don't like not having the answer, So then I kind of started to be more into, okay, I might just go down to the brewery to see like how the beer is made and like how the process works. And I got in contact with Francesco, who used to be a head brewer there. He was freshly in the country as well, so he came from Italy around that time, So I remember that on my days off, I was going to Carrick Shannon to spend day in the brewery because I just wanted to learn more, and I felt really, really, really good there. Like the people there working there, like it was great fun, and Francesco was always very patient with my questions that I look back at. Like he would be like, I remember the first day when we came there and like we introduced ourselves to each other, and we were like, okay. So he started to be like all nerdy about that, and he started, oh well, and the gravity, and you take this and you measure, and I was like, no, hang on a second, this pot, what is in there, and what do you do with it, So it's like he didn't realize that I know nothing about the beer, but he was at the same time very patient, and he just walked me through the process. And I was just going down there, and we were just trying to figure out some crazy stuff. They had a pilot kit there, so we would brew a beer. We would have 3 kegs out of it. We would send it to Byron, and then I was trying to sell it to the customers. I was just trying to prove, like even the beer. Some of the beers were not great. Just really didn't work out, but we were able to sell them because it was something different. We put basil in the beer, like it was just something. You're Italian, let's put basil in the beer, for the so it was great times. Like when I look back at that, it feels like it's forever ago, but like we're talking 7 years ago now, which is yeah, time flies. So I think that's how I got into the beer. I think it was kind of a natural evolution through I got a job and I wanted to be good at my job. So yeah, that would be the side.
Well, nothing wrong with that. And I mean, I hadn't heard of Carrick Brewing until I'd actually walked past. I used to work really close to Barua,
Yeah.
and the sign is still there.
Yes.
And I still thought, is there a brewery I don't know about in this country? And then I realized they must have closed down. But clearly ahead of your time, putting basil into the beer,
It wasn't understood back then, but like we had fun, you know what I mean?
Yeah, why not?
So
That's so
yeah.
fun.
Just maybe not in the stout. We're just saying that. Just saying. But in a saison or something, lots of options. So
yes, Rip Island's Edge. Sorry, but I don't think anyone here is. Don't think anyone here is mourning the loss of Island's Edge. I don't think many people on the island of Ireland are mourning the loss of Island's Edge. But yes, basil and beer, it can be done.
Can be done.
Just not like that. Yes,
not like that, please.
and I guess Francesco's gone to Lochgill now, where they're making some lovely beers. So people, move around, and it's still a small scene. So
it's a very small scene. It is, yeah. People don't realize it, but it is, yeah. A lot of people, and as well, like you were saying at the very beginning, that I think we all know of each other. It's like, it is a small world here. But that's what makes it really nice, as well. That like we kind of everyone knows everyone,
Yeah, if you go into the underdog, you will meet someone It's just it will happen. You can't just go on your own for a quiet pint. I mean, you could, but that would be weird there. So other places for that. But
it's the Cheers bar, isn't it? Yeah. So that's really cool, Radka. And I didn't realize that you started out in the serving scene, but got straight into brewing and experimenting, and that is that's quite a big deep dive. And you hadn't gone into like home brewing along the way. It was straight into commercial, and that must have been a wild ride.
No, I was actually, you see, like I was always fascinated by the process, but at the same time, like whenever I went to the brewery, like people couldn't understand that I go there on my day off, and I enjoy that because it was kind of like I went there to relax. We are in a busy hospitality environment, and like there is always like it's constantly moving, and you just don't stop for the whole day. And then you come to the brewery, and then like you start the mashing, and then now what? Now we wait. okay, we have a coffee and we wait, you know what I
Right.
mean? So it's like I'm a person that I have to do something constantly, you know. So I was actually thinking about that. Like it would be great, like at the beginning I was thinking maybe like working in a brewery wouldn't be that bad, you know, it would be interesting. But I know myself that I would be happy probably for a couple of months, and then I would still be doing something in between. I'd be, you know, in between the kettles, you know, and like just constantly doing something, which is not bad. But at the same time, I think it's just a very yeah, I need more. I need to do 7 things at the same time, you know. So it's something that I love to explore, but I never kind of felt like it's my calling, you know. Kind of like go with what makes me the happiest, probably. I'm still looking for it. But yeah, no, it is fascinating though. I like it is a lot of work. There is a lot of science in behind. There is a lot of small things that people don't realize. And basically that's why I'm always trying to kind of like push it, promote it, and like kind of give a shout to all the brewers, because like it seems like, ah, yeah, sure, yeah, you are just drinking the beer, and like, you know, it's so much fun, and like this is your work, and I cannot believe that you are making beer for a living. But it is a lot of work, because by the time the beer gets to your glass as a consumer, like it's a huge journey. You know. So yeah, it needs
Yeah.
to be brought to people's attention a little bit.
And so since you had studied musicology, how on earth, what did you do with that degree in the end? Did you just be like, you know,
No, you see,
not for me anymore?
that just kind of represents me as a person, that I kind of want to do everything. So basically, my main studies were media studies. So I was doing journalism, bit of radio, you know, back in Slovakia. Then I went to Czech Republic, and I was like, okay, I can do masters in that, but I can add on something. And I used to play accordion for a very long time. So my thinking was like, I always kind of wanted to go back to music at some stage, and like I was going to like a artist school when I was a kid, you know, like, and I really wanted to approach it when I was younger, but then I kind of gave up, because I was like, okay, music, not really, like with the like playing accordion, that wouldn't be kind of my career, and not in Slovakia or anywhere else. So I had to be more realistic about, okay, what I want to do in the future. So I kind of played and toyed with the idea of, okay, I could maybe teach music, but I'm not a teacher. So I'm glad I didn't make this decision, because actually when then I was approved, you know, to do study, you know, as a future music teacher, but that wouldn't be for me. I don't have the patience to do that. So yeah, so that's how, like, I just wanted to add that on, because I was always into music, and I was like, maybe that now's the time to kind of go back to it a little bit, and more on a you know, on the science level and stuff like that. But at the same time, I kind of, yeah, no, it didn't really work out. Like I came here, and in Maynooth my focus was on musicology, and it was great. Like I learned a lot. I had a part of the studies were studies about the Irish music, which is very fascinating, you know what I mean. And it's like, it was great to explore, but I could probably never pursue a career in that. It's something that is just on the side as my passion, as a hobby. But yeah, so that's kind of like, I always put in something in the mix that doesn't make really sense, but I'm trying to just figure it out. You know.
Oh no, I get that. I can talk people's ears off about 18th century broadside ballads, but people don't want that. So I understand. It's just me, But here for it. So I love that sort of nerdy aspect of music, and especially that sort of early popular music. See, I'm already going in that direction, and I can see Tandy being like, "Oh God, this is happening." But no, back to the beer, back to the beer. But I have the same thing. I like to do so many different things. So
Exactly, but
totally relate.
that's the beauty. Like it's just so fascinating, you know. Like you can approach many different fields, and like, you know, be passionate about so many things, as long as it makes you happy, like, you know. So that's the whole point, I think. Yeah.
Well, I'm just putting it out there, but recently I bought a banjo.
That's
Nice.
right.
And I've been playing my banjo. I'm obviously I'm still learning, but I'm really enjoying it. So I get it. Not this 18th century broadside ballads. I don't know what the hell that is. That is
Please attend my lecture some evening. No, but maybe there's a session in everyone's future, you know, once you're a little more, you know, more polished. So
Yeah.
oh,
Indeed.
maybe I don't know if that's the push I need to become more polished or to stay not polished. I don't know what this is.
Fair.
Okay, so Radka, back to you now. So you'd come to Ireland and you were involved in this beer scene and you were brewing a little bit and you were involved in Carrigan at Barua, and it sounds really cool. Where did Radka's Beer Club come from?
It was just, you see, I was drinking so much beer at some stage, and like, you know, I was just fascinated. Every time I go to the shop, there is like so many options, and the cans look beautiful. And I always liked photography, you know. I never kind of like had a proper camera or anything, you know. So I just had my little camera that I brought from Slovakia, you know, just to photos for mom, mom, I'm alive. And I was just kind of like taking pictures of the beer, and like I don't know, it always fascinated me. I never would call myself a professional. I would never, you know, really look into that on a professional level, but it just, yeah, another hobby. Like I like if the beer looks nice on the picture, it makes me happy. It gives me some kind of satisfaction back, where I take a picture and it looks good and it makes people thirsty, and I that's the whole point, you know. So I just enjoy that. So that's how I set up Radka's Beer Club. I don't even know why. It was just kind of, I think it was just a joke with my boyfriend and with his brother. We used to live together, you know, and we were like, oh yeah, Radka's Beer Club is on again, and you know, that kind of stuff. And you know, and there was no point, like, or no goal behind it or anything like that. And also, like, the bar I used to work at, bar, they used like on the very top there is a roof, basically, you know, that you can access actually. So a couple of times I would bring my friends there, and like, you know, I would pick, I don't know, 5 beers, and I was like, okay, now we are going to taste the beers, because a lot of people are trying to tell me, oh, I'm not a beer person, and there is no beer in the world that I could drink, you know. And I could, then I kind of like, it just, I was fascinated by people saying that and claiming that. And then I would pick a person. I was like, okay, we are coming with me. We are going to go on the roof. I'll pick the beers and we are going to do the tasting. And these people ended up like, oh my God, I could actually really drink that, you know, because people's perception on the beer is completely different to what it actually is, you know. So I kind of started to, and even like, you know, everyday serving people, and people come in and tourists come in and looking for the beers and recommendations, it kind of gave me um more of like, it fascinated me that, like, you know, people tell me that what they like, and I can give that to them, and they're like, oh my God, that's exactly what I wanted. Maybe they were lying half of the time, I don't know. Really good about that, that, like, you know, I could based on their, what they like, I could recommend them something that they actually enjoyed, you know, and they would come back for more advice or something, you know. So that kind of fascinated me, you know. So it was just another fun project, you know. Radka's Beer Club, nothing really, just the pictures of the beer and the beer, I guess, you know.
It looks as if it was a lot of fun while it was happening. And I know what you mean about, you know, taking people through a tasting of different beers, you know, when you're either challenging perceptions or introducing them to something new that they didn't really expect. It's amazing what people actually enjoy.
Yeah,
You know, if you just you either don't tell them the brand or don't tell them the style or what it's supposed to taste like, and just, you know, let them taste it. And
exactly,
somehow it works. It's just it's fun.
Yeah,
exactly.
and
It's
oh yeah, I
go
was
ahead.
just gonna say too. It must be so interesting, or have been so interesting too, when you get, you know, tourists in where, you know, they've had their Guinness already. You know, they're gonna do that obviously, but then I find at least people always also want to say, oh, what's local? What else is, you know? And then they want you to recommend something. So you must have had a lot of experience, kind of trying to find what they were really looking for, and, you know,
Yeah,
trying to match the beer with the person, or the beer with the country person, and so on. So
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. And it was just so much fun as well. And like, that's why I always wanted to be like more into, okay, you made this beer, tell me how you made it, because people wanted to hear the stories, because every beer has a story. People want to hear that, you know what I mean. So I was like, okay, just Fran, just tell me, what did you do, or like, how does this, because maybe it doesn't excite them as brewers because they do that every day, and they just don't consider it fascinating. But like, you know, all of a sudden, you know, if I have this beer and there is this customer and he wants to know more about that, so here's the information, you know what I mean. So it was, yeah, I really enjoyed that. It taught me a lot, you know. I learned a lot through what people want, you know, what they expect, what it was great. It was a great experience. I'm very, very happy and very lucky that I ended up in the bar like that, because back then there was not many craft beer places, you know, that would, like, we started off, Barra started off as like completely craft. There was no macro beers. There was all Carrick Brewing Company beers or guest beers, but there was no macro. So it started off as a proper craft beer place. And it looked nice as well. Then they expanded, they got another building as well. It was a great time. It was a great experience to my life. And my English, my English wasn't great when I came here, so my English, it definitely helps.
That's so cool. So now tell us, from sort of those years, how did we get to the point now that you decided to start a publication called Hop Glossy, which is going to be the basically the Irish magazine of choice, whether it's printed or digital, whether it's monthly or bi-monthly or whenever it settles,
Or whenever, no pressure.
or whenever. Like, how did this idea come about?
So because I had the media background, from Slovakia, from Czech Republic, whenever I was studying that, actually, funny enough, I I said to myself, I will never work in media because nothing, I just couldn't imagine myself. I'm a person, like, I'm not gonna say stuff on purpose to manipulate people's minds or gain attraction or kind of, like, and that's what the media nowadays is, when it comes to that. I just don't really agree with that. But learning about that, I did an internship in music magazine. Obviously, it's just like part of the 3-month summer that I decided that I want to do something. I want to just see into the behind the scenes of the running a magazine. So I went, and it was a rock and metal music magazine because I was into that back then. When
Tandy is so excited, folks at home. Tandy is so excited.
I'm so excited.
So I was really, really into that. So I went to Czech Republic basically, and spent 3 months there, 4 months, 4 months in Prague, and it was beautiful. I love that city. Like it's just a beautiful city. And basically, the editor-in-chief of the magazine, he was such an honest person, and like he just said, "This is a hobby. Like this is like he was running the most popular rock and metal music magazine in Czech Republic and Slovakia." And he was just saying, this is just a side hustle. Like, I have a full-time job, and this is just something I do on the side. Like, so I'm like, okay, great. So that means you can't really make money. If this is just so it was just kind of, but it was always in the back of my mind. Like, I was always fascinated by the process of the production and all this kind of stuff. And as well, I was saying, like, if I'm going to end up in media, it's going to be something that cannot hurt people, with its produce. So I really enjoyed my time in the music magazine. So I was like, okay, now I was at the stage where, you see, because I'm kind of a person that I love to do a bit of everything. Okay, so a bit of this, bit of that, bit of photography, bit of that. And I just wanted something that I can put all of it together in one package, and kind of all my passions, to something that I will enjoy and I will enjoy making. And I didn't want to kind of push it into something that is gonna kind of annoy me, that I have to do something. So that's why I'm kind of taking it easy in a way. Whatever I have time for, I will do, and I will always do my best. But at the same time, it's just a hobby. It's just something that is on a side. It's just something that I just kind of felt like needed to fulfill me better, I think. And as I said, like, I always I love working with the breweries around, and we are constantly talking, on a daily basis, and they just put so much effort into what we can drink at the end of the day. But sometimes I feel like there is, like, because there is not enough resources in the brewery, let's say, not everyone has a marketing department, not everyone has the skill to be doing the social media, for example, or something. So the promotion, when it comes to small breweries, can kind of be not lacking, but not by their own fault. But like, it's a lot. If you're trying to run a business as a brewery, there's too many things that you have to focus on, and sometimes you forget to pass the message to the customer. So let's say, as I was saying, you are creating this really exciting beer, it has a story and something really exciting, new concept, new hops or something. But by the time the beer is out there, you forget about all that, because you went through the part of, oh, this is really exciting, but it's released, and just, there is not enough time, not enough people to be talking about that. And yeah, you do a post or something, but it kind of gets buried in the whole world of other beers or something, so I just feel like I wanted to create something that every single brewery has a space where they can promote their stuff with my help, because I'm not a professional writer or photographer or anything like that, but I do believe that I can help them at least a little bit, and creating a platform, which is just an extra platform, like you have like macro media, mainstream media that are constantly promoting macro breweries, let's say, there is no space for small breweries, in the world. So why not to create something that will be dedicated for the small breweries with the pure purpose of here's your space. You can promote your beer. We can talk about it. We can shout about it. We can get people excited about it. So the whole point behind that, or whole idea behind it, just came from that. Because as I said, like I talk to people every day, and I see that there is a struggle sometimes, so maybe something that can help. It's not gonna revolutionize the scene, but at least maybe it's a tiny little small help to kind of push it a little bit better, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. And it reminded me so much the first, I think, issue or two, because I used to write for Philly Beer Scene back in Philadelphia, and they started off just as a kind of e-zine only, and then they had the printed copies that were like very fancy, frankly, and that would turn up, in the different tap rooms and bars and pubs and so on. But it was the same kind of idea of let's really try to, highlight all the local brewers, tell the stories. I mean, exactly that, because people want those narratives. People really want to know, like, why is there this brewery that's kind of in the middle of nowhere, or what is the story behind this beer, even if it's just let's say a seasonal or whatever, what made them decide to go in this direction or that direction. And we all like to nerd out about that a bit, but it's great too for just the person who's just down the pub to know, oh, this is this, have a 2-second sort of summary. And this gives, like you say, another place to do that. And I think too, when I've been looking at the first couple issues, and the format's very similar to the one I used to work on. So I'm like, oh, it just makes me feel good. And it's again, I really, really like the way it's laid out, and it's beautifully done. And again, folks, it's going to be in the show notes, so go have a look. But again, I think it's absolutely that, giving people another place to tell their story, and in a way that's really visually appealing, and hopefully that'll get people to go and have a look. And especially, I used to work on physical print and digital magazines back in the 1990s. I used to work for Time Out in London, and back when there was still a print issue, which now there's not, but RIP. But again, that kind of muscle memory almost kicks in when I'm looking at it, where I'm like, oh, I remember how hard it was to produce some of these things, week in, week out. But again, I think it's so important to come back to that idea of the narrative and why people are brewing these different beers. Again, whether it's because it's winter and we want this, or there's a new hop, or maybe there's like a sense of place tied up with it, which again, I get nerdy about. But I think there's so many stories we can tell, and it's just kind of, like you say, reminding people they have maybe this extra outlet, so they don't have to spend all this time kind of overthinking it. Let us do that. So
Exactly. And it can get really overwhelming. Like I know that by myself, like with the new releases, and to stay on top of everything. Where's the event? What's happening, what's on, and like people can miss so many great things only because they're just buried in the world of information out there. Like it's very hard to, even for myself, and like I watch the scene every single day, and like it's just part of my job. So it's like it's very overwhelming for myself too, so I was like, okay, if it is overwhelming for me, I can imagine how overwhelming it can be for the end customer who doesn't have the insight that I have, for example. So maybe kind of simplify that and put it in the format where you can just literally have your morning coffee and flip through the pages, maybe find out something that you didn't know, and just maybe like whatever, as I said, like, you can open the normal magazine about anything, and every single structure or the topic or kind of like a section can be translated to the beer world, because it's all the same. Like, you're just gonna transfer, okay, new releases, events and beer people, and like it's just, there is a lot to map, a lot to introduce to people. And something that maybe for us, like, the breweries, all of you know people behind it, like not everyone knows. And maybe it's kind of also this extra step of, if we want to push the craft beer and bring it up, when it comes, we need to educate people about that. So maybe some random person is going to pick it up because hey, there's my mate from whatever from high school that I used to go to school with, and he's now brewing. Look at that, so you never know. So it's just this tiny little bit that I'm trying to do for the scene, just genuinely kind of push the hard work, because I do believe that breweries do deserve that. So yeah.
I mean, Radka, I think you're doing an amazing amount of work to promote these breweries. And from what I can tell, I've read both of the issues, and what I really enjoyed myself is looking at new releases. That's great, because I'm never on the ball with that stuff. But looking at events, I've been racking my brain, because I'm trying to plan my life better, because I'm useless at it, and I'd like to at least see 3 months in advance, and I can never quite tell what the hell is happening 3 months in advance. And I feel like there isn't always a good place to be like, oh, okay, during these months there are these things going on. Hop Glossy has been that for me for at least the last 2 months. I'm like, oh, look, Oktoberfest here, and there's this kind of a festival here, and all these things. I think it's really, really useful. And also, I mean, I love what Lisa and yourself have both said, that bringing up the biography and the stories of the brewers here is so important. We're a tiny island with only a few brewers and breweries, not a tiny number, but it's still a manageable number. And it's really nice to have a little dedicated space to all the interesting and fun things that are happening within within the industry, because there's loads. It's such a busy industry.
It
So
is,
I think
yeah.
it's fantastic. But I mean, you're doing this on your own, are you?
I I am now. I do have a great help from my brother, who is also into craft beer, so he has been a great help for me. He is doing the reviews for me, because I think he gets it better than me. I can be influenced by many factors outside of the beer, which I know it's bad, but it's natural. But I know that he can be more objective when it comes to that. And for the second issue, Lenny, I don't know if you know him. So basically, another big promoter of craft beer, he offered me help when it comes to reviewing either pubs or reviewing shops where he shops. So just to keep it more objective, I'm more than happy. I'm always happy when someone offers help, and like a lot of breweries offered help as well, which I'm very, very grateful for. So I do hope to grow it in a way like I can put more people together. Absolutely, I would love to pay them, at the moment. As I said, like this is just a side project, but I do hope to grow it. So like one day I won't have to write everything myself, or like but at the moment, yes, major part is done by me. Just a very simple design, very simple kind of I enjoy many different parts, so I was like, okay, I'll put them together. So I am very much aware it's not perfect, and it will never be perfect, but I do my best within my options and knowledge at the moment. There is a lot to improve, and I will be happy to kind of explore the options, because there is a lot of different ways how it can grow, in a way like it can be a regular internet version. There will be like a printed monthly, or like there I have a lot of plans, a lot of a lot of a lot on my mind that I would love to do. Just the only problem is time, unfortunately. So the day has 24 hours still, but I'm trying my best. It can be really, really overwhelming sometimes, and yet it's not the monthly production as I originally aimed. But yeah, I'll get there one day.
Absolutely. I used to, similar to Lisa, I used to write for South Africa's first and only craft beer magazine called On
Nice.
Tap magazine, and they started back in 2016. And the idea was, quite similar. It's like, let's give the craft beer scene a space to promote itself, and let's learn about the new beers. And because the country is a fair amount larger, knowing what's happening in Cape Town when you live in Durban or Johannesburg was a little more difficult. So having a magazine was really useful. And initially, it was a printed magazine, and you could find it at places like homebrew stores, as well as certain off licenses and things like that. But the homebrew community was actually the biggest market, which was really interesting. But really similar things. But what I think has been encouraging is that it also did start small. It started with two people, like the editor and the publisher.
Yeah.
And they made that work, and they used to then effectively buy in, although not with money, but they used to buy in reviews and writing, and somebody's going on a travel to another country, great, go write about that. And it just, it's a community effort. And if you're not paying anything for this digital magazine, why on earth do you don't worry about it. Let people let people contribute as a community effort. I think it's a great thing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure our listeners and everybody in this country are going to swarm you after this offers of help. And then your job is going to be even harder, because then it's going to be facilitation and management and
Well, hopefully. No, as I said, no, I enjoy, I enjoy the process of it, and I enjoy, that it can be something, So no, I do have a hope for it, and but the main goal will always be I want to enjoy it, I don't want, you know like my friends were saying, oh yeah, just wait until big brands, macro brands will come and like pay any advertising in there. I was like, yeah, right. Right, no, not about like, I don't, that's not the focus, it's not the focus of like, okay, I'll give you space if you give me money. Absolutely not. Like, this is like genuinely for those who don't have the marketing budgets and don't have the budgets like the big companies that can splash the cash on the big advertising campaigns, and like be in the face of everyone. Like this is literally, and I was always saying, like, even if my mom is going to be the only person who's going to be reading that, I'll keep doing that because it makes me happy. It makes me happy that there's something that I enjoy, I can put my passions in, and I don't waste my time. Then like I make something of my time that I feel then a little bit more useful, if it makes sense.
no, it's wonderful. And I think I was actually surprised, and I wasn't sure if there was something before this that maybe died along the way, but is this the first Irish craft beer magazine or publication or zine or anything? Is this the first one?
I'm not quite sure. I'll be honest with you. I don't know personally. I
Mm,
don't remember anything while I was here. Maybe there was something,
mm.
but I'm not aware at the moment. Anyway.
I've been here for a shorter time than you have, so I'll
Oh.
take your word for it.
Yeah, we'll just put the bats and say, John, let us know.
Yeah,
Let
John
us
the
know.
beer note. What's
Yes.
happening? What was the history of this? No, but it's really exciting. And I mean, as you say, a lot of the times these small breweries who are just getting started or have, been in the works for a year or two, they're just focusing on making beer.
Yeah.
And we all know that sometimes the difference between a brewery that does really well and the one that doesn't isn't the beer or the quality of the beer. It's the marketing and the
Yeah.
sales and the distribution and the, all of the other things that go around it. It's one of those like almost urban legend level things now where if you want to open a brewery, forget about making beer, like do all the other things really, really well because that's where it counts. Um, but it's lovely that you're giving people a space um, to share their stories, share their releases, share their events. It's really cool.
Yeah, and I think it's so important too. And not just this time of year where we're getting up to the holidays, but I know like a fair few of our smaller brewers have said, things may look good, but guys, this is our crunch time of year. We need to be, shifting units, whether that's merch, whether that's beer, this is the time of year they need to make sure they have the money to invest for next year to be making great beers. And so I think that's just another, we know the margins are really, really slim for the smaller brewers, but as good as things may look from the outside, it's it can be hard to tell. So I think as much as possible we want to be highlighting those smaller folks who we all know and love and who are making great stuff, because the big guys have the marketing budgets and have the budgets to kind of weather a year that's not great, or this and that. So I think it's just another way we want to support them as much as we can. We can't all drink it all for them in as much as we'd like to, but got to be mindful. So it's another way we can help out, is to at least like raise the profile and keep them in front of kind of the public consciousness, if you like.
Absolutely. Yeah. Every little bit helps, like,
Yeah.
yeah, that you nailed it there. Like this is the time where all the small breweries need the biggest support, basically, because that kind of determines what's going to happen next year, and we don't want to be seeing like lots of different breweries closing, and
No.
I'll be sad. Like it's not many of them, so let's just keep the numbers up.
Hang on to the guys, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And look, it's really hard work. So I commend you for putting this together, because this is not an easy job. And the fact that you're doing this just about solo is nuts to me. Like, I think it's crazy and it's awesome. And I congratulate you because it's great.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'll do my best in the coming weeks, and hopefully I'll serve you well with my information. No, we're always laughing. Like, I'm always asking everyone, any gossips, any gossips, because I want to kind of, obviously I'm never going to be, releasing stuff that I shouldn't or anything,
Right.
It's just like one part that, like, every time I'm starting the conversation, well, tell me the gossips now, spill the tea.
Yeah, come on, spill the beans. Won't be published. Don't worry, off the record.
Exactly. It's like, so maybe I'll plant a seed here, because I know you, again, you've got your day job working in the industry as well, but what should we be on the lookout for when people are buying their advent boxes or things? What do we think may be in some of those? Any ideas on either breweries or styles? Again, nothing, you don't have to say specifically, but just are there things we should watch for?
There is all yes. Now, if I say that this year is the best year, maybe people will think that I'm lying, but I'm not. Like, no, we did our best here. So there is gonna be now. Forget where I work. There is a huge range of really good calendars out there. So, and every place does their own thing and thing that is very specific to them, and like, it's great to have such a selection. When I speak for ourselves, we do have the options. We always go crazy with the options because that's what we do. You want to make everyone happy. So no, we always like genuinely put inside what we would love to drink as well, that we believe in. So well, hopefully it's going to be enjoyed. I know that there is one on the way too. So
we actually didn't mention, but Radka, your day-to-day job, you work at Craft Central.
I do, yes.
which is absolutely one of the premium places to get craft beer in the country, right? And by the way, I had the Advent box from last year,
yes.
and I was on the splurge list. I went to like the give me the crazy box, and it was absolutely worth every single cent.
Oh, thank you.
And it was quite pricey, but like it was worth it, because I think of the 24 beers, I think I hadn't had 23 of them.
Okay.
Wow. And folks, this is saying something. This is,
and they were really interesting and like really unusual and from all over the place. So I am the advocate of that, and my order's going in. So don't you worry.
Thank you very much. No, thank you. No, that's what we just created that. I think it was 3 years ago, I think, or this is the 4 years ago. No, 3 years ago. Yeah. 3 years ago, we just started this. And we were like, okay, what we are good at. And we just wanted something different, So we just have one of these options is the calendar, where you can find the beers that were never released in Ireland, as far as we know and what we've seen, and they are not for general release as well. So it's like literally what's in the calendar, that's it. People can buy it normally. So it's very exciting to be putting that together, because we just want to make sure that we're going to surprise people with something, and it's going to be just not only one style orientated or one country. So we're just trying to put it into a really good mix, and so far I have to say we are very thankful for the support, and we are very thankful for the response, because a lot of people are very complimentary of, like, after they open all the beers, and they're like, oh yeah, and we can see people coming back, which is the biggest thing for us, that seeing that they enjoyed it, they're coming back, and that's what makes us really happy, because we're like, okay, next year we'll make it even better. So this year is the best so far. But yeah, no, it's very exciting. It is very exciting, like that time of the year when we are putting them together, it is exciting. So yeah, so hopefully it will be enjoyed as well this year.
Here. And like, there's so many different ones going out there, and some have a different focus. Like some are either Irish only, or some are, kind of almost the opposite, where it's like, weird stuff. And I love that they're all a bit different, and you can just kind of choose your own adventure, if you like.
Exactly,
So
a variety. Yeah, that's what we need. Like, everyone, has different needs, different things that they like, so everyone can find something out there on the scene, whether it is, there or there. Like it's not about who is the best or anything like that. It's about we have a variety, and we are very lucky that we have this variety around, so that's
It is
important.
actually amazing. For all of the years that I've lived here, I've gotten advent boxes from different places and of different levels. Sometimes it's just been Irish, sometimes it's been, special releases and from different providers, but they're always just so fun and so interesting.
Mhm.
And I do love them. But now I wanted to ask you there, Radka. You've been through Hop Glossy. You've got 2 issues out so far.
Mhm.
The idea is, it maybe started monthly. It may not be monthly in the end. That's okay. But what have you seen in your research and in your putting together of the magazines? Are there trends that seem to be emerging, or things that are coming through seasons? What are you seeing in the industry?
In the industry. There are definitely trends that are set up mostly by what's produced, so breweries are the trendsetters here, so when it comes to this season, like there is a lot of dark beers, there is a lot of barrel aged imperial stouts, that were aging and sitting for the whole year. So there will be more of that, definitely. Some of them are out already. Lochgale released their barrel aged series. I think Hopfully is gonna be releasing one very soon as well, which is not very common for them actually. So I think it's the first or the second time that they're messing with the barrels here. So really excited to see that. Um, there are trends, yeah. There are trends when it comes to, like there are some hops that kind of shine, and like, this year, like it's always kind of like a little bit slower to get to Ireland, because by the time that the hops are available to Irish breweries, to purchase, it takes some time. But like it's very interesting to see. Like for example, there was a big focus on a hop called Peterine. We had a couple of breweries from America that produced the beer. We actually got them, so we tasted them. Then that was followed by a couple of breweries in the UK who used that hop, and the same with Nectarine hop as well. We actually produced a beer with Hopfully using the Nectarine hop, as like I think before us only Whiplash used that hop before, so we produced that. So basically, so there's always like this kind of like a hopping, that is coming from different countries, and then it gets to us. Um, when it comes to styles, yeah, so basically seasons, depending on, and the big thing, and I know that you did a podcast about that, I wrote about that in the last issue as well, is non-alcoholic beers, which is great to see. Like that part of the industry is very important, so it's great to see like more and more releases coming out. Irish soda company as well, created by Dead Center Brewing. That's another part. It's still within the scene, but it's something different. Huge focus on the non-alcoholic beers, which is very important for the quality of that, because it's just growing, it's getting better. Breweries are making themselves more familiar with the production process, because it's not as easy as like just making a beer. They have to be more careful. There is more involved, more work involved, and yeah, so it's a new concept that will probably grow, definitely will grow. And yeah, so that's probably around that. It's been a little bit this year, I have to say, has been a little bit slower when it comes to new releases. So there was not as many as like previous years. Beginning of this year was very slow, so I'll be curious to see what's going to happen next year, with also with the whole deposit scheme kicking in, which is going to be a lot of fun for the distribution as well. So we will see. But yeah.
Thank you for the shout out in the Hop Glossy, by the way, on our
No problem.
episode on non-alcoholic beers and sober October, because it was, kind of around that same time. And it was really interesting, and I appreciated hearing Hope's perspective on non-alcoholic beers. And what was nice to hear was just a bit of refreshing honesty, like that they actually
Yeah.
didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
They weren't that keen.
Yes.
And it was a big learning curve. And I like to see that honesty from
yeah.
brewers. It's
Yeah.
really cool and refreshing to to hear that people are not just equally excited about every single thing that they brew, because that's just not true.
Yeah.
It was lovely to read about that. And as any brewer who might be listening knows, brewing a non-alcoholic beer is hard work, man. And
Yeah.
we always question, like, why do they cost the same, if not more, as
Exactly.
alcohol beers? It's because there's a whole bunch of either extra steps or extra ingredients that
Yeah,
you need to add in. So come on,
exactly.
guys, go read the Hop Glossy and you'll go and see exactly what's involved there. But yeah, not easy. So, Lisa, I don't know if you've got any final questions, but I've got one final question.
Oh no, I'm good. I was so excited about the advent boxes that was my big other question. Again, I'm gonna be patient. It will appear in due course. So
It will. It will.
I'm all
It's
good.
on the way.
Indeed. So, Radka, what is your favorite beer of the moment?
Oh no, 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 no.
I know. Okay, you can pick like 3. They don't have to be in order, but what have you really enjoyed recently?
Oh, okay, okay. But I can never answer this question because I'm actually a person who is always trying different beers. I don't even go back to beers because it's so many of them that I want to try that I don't have time to. But okay, so what did I? Okay, one of my like. No, I actually feel bad like saying saying. But okay, I like this one. The Outer Place is really nice. It's the one that I'm drinking right now. No, it's hard. I'll be honest with you. It's hard to say. I have
Fair
the
enough.
couple of beers that I enjoy like all year round. Our collaboration with Hopfully, that was my beer in the fridge all the time. But that's purely because I just loved how it turned out. It's gone now, so I don't have anything. No, I'm just joking. But no, it depends on my mood probably. I do enjoy a lot of different beers at the same time. It's hard to say. I really can't. I love, let's say, Tundra from Wicklow. That's one of the beers that I can always go back to. It's a tropical IPA. It's just so easy drinking. I love that beer. Um, but it's hard. I don't know. I cannot pick.
It's too many good choices, aren't there?
Yes.
Okay, so since that one was a bit of a washout, if you were a style of a beer, what would you be?
Oh, I would be New England IPA. I know, boring, horrible. Yes, I know, but I would be that. Yeah, that's me. I'm a
No,
walking New England IPA.
perfect, juicy, delicious.
Yeah, hazy.
Love it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's great. So, Radka, what we are going to do is share all of the links for Hop Glossy and for the Instagram page into our show notes below. But is there anything else that you'd like to shout out? A Twitter or X account or any other website that you want to direct our listeners to?
I actually have a Twitter X whatever account, but I was never good with that. So it exists, but there is nothing on that. So at the moment, I operate on Instagram, so you can find me at Hop Glossy. And then there is a website where you can find the issue 1 or issue 2, but you can find it through the Instagram account. There is a link in bio. So yeah, that's it. And if you have any comments, feedback, or any kind of juicy gossips for me, feel free to whether you are a brewery or a drinker, whoever you are, feel free to get in touch with me on hello@hopglossy.com, and I'll be very happy to chat further with you guys.
Love it. And everybody that wants to contribute to this community effort and take some work and stress off of Radka's hands, do get in touch. We know that this place is full of talent and people who are willing to chip in, even if it's only an hour here or there to something. So yeah, get in touch. I think we all are invested in making something like this work. So come on, guys, let's rally together. But Radka, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an utter delight. And if we need to see each other for beer soon, don't we?
Absolutely.
I bet we're just going to see each other at Underdog, right? Sometime,
Yeah.
Always
Yes.
the way.
Okay, okay. And then we'll see if Radka's drinking a New England IPA.
We'll see. Yeah.
No, it's been great. So thank you so much for coming on. And Lisa, friend, thank you so much for hosting along with me.
Always.
Yeah, and everybody at home, thank you very much for listening. We'll catch you on the socials. Lisa normally manages those. Twitter is your best bet, or X, whatever you want to call it.
Or blue
No one's used
sky.
to it
Or
anymore.
blue sky.
Or blue
Anyway.
sky. Social media. Anyway, so catch us on the socials and follow Radka. We'll have all the details down below. And then we will see you all in the next episode. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.